Hey everyone, One Big Boss here. As you can tell by the title of the video that you clicked on, well, we're back to another episode of New to Retro Reviews, and today we are reviewing RWBY ARROWFELL. And this game was given to me by the people over at Wayforward. They were kind enough to give me the review code a couple days ago, and thank you guys for that. I really appreciate it. This was really an amazing thing for you guys to, give me the chance to review this game, because I am a fan of RWBY. I've really liked the show for couple of years now, and the funny thing was I actually wasn't a fan of it originally. The weird thing was, back in the day when it first came out, I didn't have any urge to watch it. It just, for me personally, I didn't see anything that really grabbed me at first. And it's weird because I was familiar with Monty's work when he did Dead Fantasy, and at Anime Boston many moons ago when that first debuted, that rocked the house. Everybody was mind blown seeing the Dead or Alive characters versus the Final Fantasy characters, and then eventually like Kingdom Hearts characters got thrown in, and more characters got thrown in from Ninja Gaiden. It was really something amazing back then, and to see that on the big screen there at Anime Boston was crazy. And then RWBY came out, and a lot of people kept telling me to watch it, but for whatever reason, my mind just couldn't get past that animation. The animation just really wasn't something that was grabbing my attention for it. And I had seen, I think, one or two of the RWBY trailers at that point. I think it was actually Ruby and Yang's, but overall, it just didn't appeal to me, And then what happened was, about 4 years ago, I got invited to go to a RWBY photo shoot. And for those of you who don't know, in real life, other than doing this, I am a photographer. And I got invited to come do this RWBY shoot. It was a group of people, and all these people were fantastic and amazing. It was a wonderful day. We had a blast on set. Technically, it was this giant kind of like mausoleum, kind of looked like a Greek palace in some ways, tall columns and such. It was really just an amazing day. Like the laughter we had on that set that day, it just laughed and shit. And there was even a wedding that came by, and they wanted to have photos with the characters because the people in the wedding actually knew what it was. That was kind of the crazy thing. So I met a lot of good people that day, and I came home and I said to myself, you know what? I'll just throw RWBY up right now, and we'll see what the show's about while I work on photos here on my other monitor. And it took a little bit, but it wasn't a bad series from when I started it at volume 1. Again, the graphics were a little strange at the time, but the graphics got better, and so did the show in a lot of ways. And I really started falling in love with it. I loved all the stuff that, Monty really put his heart and soul into for this when it came to making these characters and taking from, fairy tales, that kind of stuff. It really worked, and the music was absolutely fantastic. So I became a huge fan of the series, and anytime after there was a time to do a RWBY photo shoot, I would do it. I love the characters, and especially the 4 main girls. They're really awesome, and I just really started to become a massive fan of the show. I wish that I didn't join as late as I did, but I'm a fan now, and when I saw that this game was coming out, I was like, yes, because RWBY really hasn't had any games outside, I believe, RWBY Grim Eclipse. It came out a couple of years ago, and a lot of people said it was pretty decent, and when I saw that Wayforward had a hand in doing this, I was like, that's gold. That's gold right there. It always kind of shocked me that these guys were never contracted to do a Mega Man game, because if you don't know anything about Wayforward, they're the guys that actually went out and did the DuckTales remaster. Yeah, they remade that classic DuckTales game from the NES that Capcom made way back in the day, and they brought it back, and it was absolutely incredible. It's one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 3. I've played it so much. There's just so much love and detail done into that game. And obviously, Wayforward is known for the Shantae series, which is incredibly popular now. And god damn, do I wish I still had that original Game Boy game. Worth a lot of money. But when I found out that they were involved in this, Rooster Teeth was going to be doing a lot of the animation. The writers from the show were going to be involved in it, and Arc System is also involved in it as well. I'm like, this is a recipe for success at this point. So with that being said, guys, let's check it out. Here is the review for RWBY ARROWFELL on Steam. Let's go. RWBY ARROWFELL's story is actually canonical to the series itself, and it takes place during the events of Volume 7, where Team RWBY is finally given their official Huntress's license in order to tackle the bigger jobs at hand. And one of them is to find out the mystery of these orbs that generate negative energy, which, if you know RWBY lore, negative emotions are what attract the creatures of this world known as Grimm. Team RWBY sets out to find out who's behind this scheme, and along the way work alongside series regulars like the Aesops and many more. Now, the story is really nothing to write home about, but one of the things I do like about it is the fact that it wasn't just people who didn't know anything about the show that much and they're just coming in here for a paycheck or whatever. No, it was actually Rooster Teeth themselves that came in and wrote it. Like, Miles and Kerry and a couple others came in to work on this. So that's pretty awesome right there when you think about it. They also brought in some musical talent. Of course, Jeff Williams has done the title song for this as well. Absolutely incredible. And it's also animated by Rooster Teeth. So yeah, that is kind of awesome when you think about it. The fact that you got everybody on board to make this game and Wayforward's helping out with it. It's really kind of amazing to see kind of stuff like that. That's like the things I want to see. I want to see the people who make products like this, who make shows and games, actually have a hand in coming on board and helping with projects. And that's kind of what this was. So it kind of all molds itself into feeling like the world of RWBY, but instead of just watching it, now you're living it. You're actually inside of it with these characters. And I think that's one of the strong points of this game, that it actually really feels like you're an Atlas and Mantle, and you get to explore all these other different areas. And it just works so damn well for this. It really does. Gameplay for RWBY ARROWFELL feels a lot like a Metroidvania style game, a little bit Mega Man kind of thrown in, which, okay, we gotta talk about this for a quick second. Was Wayforward ever offered the chance to make a Mega Man game during those dark eras where Capcom wasn't making them? Because if there was any company out there that I think deserves the chance to make a Mega Man game, it's Wayforward. They really understand these kind of games. I mean, Konami could have given them Castlevania for years. We could have had old style Castlevania games from, like, you know, Super Nintendo era and Game Boy Advance, PS1. Like, there could have been a huge onslaught of games coming from them, but I'm not with the company, so I don't know what the exact story was. But it is interesting to think what these companies could have done if they had given, you know, the license and money to have Wayforward make these games. It really makes you think. But as for the gameplay, you jump and have 2 attack buttons, and you're going to explore all of Atlas and Mantle with a fine-tooth comb. Some areas requiring you to actually use the girl's special abilities to advance to different areas. Whether it's Yang breaking through walls or Blake using her clones to keep the doors open, you'll be using these techniques to help you through it all. Various types of Grimm and other human enemies will pop up throughout the game, and I gotta say, I didn't expect too much variety in the Grimm, but they do give you a fair amount of it to where it doesn't get old seeing them and fighting them time and time again. And in certain aspects, you get hit with waves of these enemies, whether they are small or big. The strengths are in numbers, and it's there. It's actually kind of cool. Well, okay, I gotta admit, with the exploding spiders, they can go burn in a fire. I hate these damn Grimm. They're like magnet, trip mines, whatever you want to call it. They start going off. You hear the noise constantly when exploring this game, and I wish they weren't in so many of the areas. It's just kind of more of a pain than anything else. They don't really do any damage to you per se, but you just see them on the ground or above you, and once they sense you, they start making a noise and self-destruct. It's just enough to drive you insane. But by beating enemies, you'll be rewarded with one of 3 rewards. Glowing green energy, which will obviously recover your life. Hearts that are dropped will help you stay alive if your energy drops to 0 and gives you a chance to recharge at some point. And finally, all the money that gets dropped goes right into your pocket, which you're going to need to buy from the local merchants that pop up all over the place. And geez, like these guys are everywhere, like the merchant from Resident Evil 4. They just show up whenever you need them. It's actually kind of awesome in that regard. And you'll be able to buy recovery items off them, and that'll help you out. And honestly, one of the biggest things about this is you're going to be able to buy skill points to level up. Almost kind of feels like we're eating rare candies from Pokemon at first, but this really isn't a typical RPG of any kind, you know, per se. There's leveling up of the characters, but you don't gain EXP for beating the Grimm. Yeah, you'll gain life and hearts and obviously coins, but it's not about leveling up through that. You actually have to buy these perks to level up your characters, and that's kind of an awesome thing that they put into this game. I feel that this is something that is kind of the strength of the game, because it's not even just buying for them. Thankfully, you don't actually have to, you know, just go to a merchant to buy them. You will actually go and you will be able to find skill points throughout the world, and that's kind of the best part about this game. Sometimes you'll see a box, but you won't be able to go get it until later on in the game when your characters become stronger. It makes the replay value in-game and going back to some areas really fun and kind of well done for the most part. I really did like that. You know, you'll be playing as all the girls and using their special abilities to get these skill points, and believe me, you're going to need these skill points later on. Trust me on this. Speaking of the girls, each player of Team RWBY has their own methods of attack. Ruby Rose has her trademark Crescent Rose that can be turned into a rifle, and her semblance lets her move at high speeds through enemies and to access other areas. Weiss Schnee has her sword, and along with the ability to make some steps that use ice glyphs, and the best part about that is those steps will actually become a weapon and can damage any enemies around. And she has an icicle shot for her projectile. Blake Belladonna uses her Gamble and Shroud sword, which turns into a gun for her projectile attacks. And she has clones to aid her for extra attack damage, as well as shielding options. I didn't realize that actually until probably about 50% of the way through the game, where I was like, wait a minute, these things are taking projectiles like a champ. Holy crap, I didn't know this was a thing. And Yang, my girl, well, she punches. What were you going to expect? That's what she does. She punches the living hell out of people in this game, and it's absolutely beautiful to play as her. But she has shotgun gauntlets, so you would think that her shotgun shots would not go as far as they do, but they kind of go pretty far, which is weird for a shotgun. But whatever, you know, it's not that big of a deal. It's kind of odd, but still. Each character can level up and become stronger, and their semblances can get a boost when you complete enough missions. This is a cool little feature because it makes you go back and replay certain areas like I talked about, certain areas you weren't able to get through before, using the new strengths and getting used to the characters. This was a way that, for me personally, I never felt got old in the game, like exploring these areas. There's certain parts about that I'll get into in the review that I didn't like, but either way, this was a pretty cool thing that they did here. There's only really one mission, and that's the mission to do anything that anybody tells you to go on and do. You'll be given a couple other missions sometimes during the main mission, which again, they're all main missions at the end. It's just however you complete them doesn't really impact the story. You're going to go back and you're going to find and give the item to this person, or give another item to this person, or give it to someone that wanted this item. It's really how it works at the end of the day. It really puts the emphasis on exploring and going back to areas, which is what this game really does best. And when you play games like Castlevania for as long as I have, you're kind of used to it like this. And it's not honestly a bad thing. With a lot of things, there's going to be good and the bad. So what is the good of this game? And I got to tell you guys right now, this game is freaking beautiful. No matter where you go, whether it's caves or towns or cities or in snowy areas, wherever you go, you feel like you're in the world of RWBY at all times. And to be honest, it's one of the game's best strengths, and something that I have always loved with Wayforward games. Again, you look at Shantae and DuckTales, if you need more proof about this. They really care about the level design. It's obviously key in many games, but there's so much love put into the detail that you see throughout the different areas that you go to. I kind of feel like the devs put a little bit too much time into that. And honestly, I'm fine with it. But that's what I love to see. I love to see people that really just make an area look as beautiful as it should, you know, like on paper to its final product. And that's what this game does very well. And I'm very proud of them for really making me feel like I was in the world of RWBY the entire time and not getting bored in any of the areas that I went to. Again, the reasons why I think to do Mega Man games. Again, Capcom's doing them now, so, you know, I don't see them going to another company. But if they get too busy and can't, I think Wayforward could make a pretty badass Mega Man game, or maybe a Mega Man X game. So more of the good of this game is playing as Team RWBY. Playing as the 4 title characters at any time is a lot of fun. I'm glad they went with this approach because it does make use of the girl's abilities and makes you swap out and try different tactics. At times, I felt myself using Blake a lot due to her shadow clones that she has. And when you switch from Blake to another character, the clones actually stay on screen. And they still attack when you press the attack button. So this will help tear through enemies and Grims, honestly. Like, this is one of the coolest part of the game, was finding out little things like that that could help me out in a fight. And believe me, for boss battles, it really helps. The characters do feel like they are right from the show itself, but I do have some minor complaints about that and how they play a little bit more later on in the review. The fact that they got the entire voice cast is really amazing, too. It seals the deal of the authenticity of this game, that you could tell that they just wanted to make a game very faithful to the show and for the fans. And like I say, if you do right by fans, games will sell. And I think they have done just right. Like, you got people who truly cared to be a part of this, and you can't take that away. The exploration, as I mentioned, really worked out well in this game. At the point where I never felt bored playing it. Got frustrated a time or two here. I'll explain a little bit more of that in the bad section of the game, but for the most part, it was awesome. Exploring these caves, fighting these Grim, grabbing all this extra money and all the health, and just getting better with the characters and really figuring out how they work was truly an amazing experience. Again, it works out in every way for me personally. There are, again, some little nitpicks I'm going to get into, but for the most part, it just works for me, and I love that about this. It got me hooked, and it kept me playing. I played this game for the full 6 hours that I did play it. Like, I played from start to finish in 6 hours, and it was absolutely incredible. And for me to play a game for 6 hours like that, it's got to have something really good to keep me hooked in. And I think what I've already talked about proves that. So, like with most things, where there's good, there's gonna be some bad. And we got to talk about that, because is kind of a lot of bad. It hurts me to kind of trash something that I really love playing, but I think these things need to be said for any kind of future development of a game like this, or really hope this gets a sequel, because this game was a lot of fun. But let's start off with some of the things that I felt were a little bit wrong with this game. First off, why is Yang's attack the lowest in the game? Like, really, I was trying to figure that out. She doesn't even do double digits worth of damage. And I kind of felt that that's weird because she's the team's tank. This woman can literally blast through rocks, okay? And that's just with her regular arm, not counting her mechanical one. I always felt that that was something really weird. Like, you know, a character like her in a lot of other games, she doesn't have a long-range weapon per se, like the regular members of Team RWBY do. So she has to get up close and personal, which means she should be allowed to do more damage. And obviously, it's kind of a risk and reward type thing where, yeah, she's going to be in danger of getting knocked around like a pinball because she doesn't have any distance or dodging abilities. So, yeah, the fact that they did this to the strongest character and my favorite character, can't really say I'm all for that. Also, it was a bit sad that Weiss herself wasn't as fun as I hoped she'd be. She's my least favorite of Team RWBY in general, and I figured we would have had an array of dust abilities from her sword like they do in the show, but we only get the ice. That's it. We only get the ice ones. And granted, yes, her ice projectile is the strongest projectile in the game. Like, that was doing, I think, like 30 plus damage, like 32 or something like that to some of the enemies that I was going up against. And I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. But the problem with that is, if you use any of the projectiles in this game, you actually lose life for using that. And it kind of reminds me of the old beat-em-up games where you would use your special attack and it would drain a lot of your life if it connected. But the problem is, at least when you use those, it was a big payoff. In this one, not so much. I mean, the projectile stuff just didn't really work for me, or for any of the characters I was using for that matter. It was kind of a bummer. Also with Blake, I figured she'd have more of a moveset. Hell, all the characters I think should have had some kind of combo system and multiple attacks to unlock, or abilities, like Blake getting a double jump, and she could climb up walls to reach certain areas. Blake is a character that has a wide variety of attacks in the show, and she could be using Gamble and Shroud as a hook shot or hit enemies from a distance, wrap them up, throw them into other ones. Like, I know I'm probably thinking a little bit too much and everything, but again, it kind of, what I'm looking for, it kind of halted some of the things that I really did enjoy about the combat of the game, because the combat that we do get is really good. The combat's phenomenal, but the lack of different abilities and motions and options to attack Grimm is kind of a bummer. It's a small nitpick, I know, but still, I mean, RWBY, you know, she has range with her scythe, but she's lacking mobility at times, and that can be a bit rough because there's a lot of delay when she swings her scythe, and not in a good way at all. And she's technically the only one who has some kind of, well, evasive move in her semblance where she can just rush through enemies, which, believe me, you're going to be using a lot in this game when you just want to get to certain areas. But I don't know, something about that, I feel like the game could have benefited from having a bit more options. And also, it's way too easy to get money at this game. At one point, I was able to keep my item slots fully stocked, and some areas I was just finding giant barrels, just breaking through them, or because I got lost here and there in the game, there were so many enemies just dropping change everywhere that whenever I needed to go and buy something, I always had the money, whether it was skills or hearts. I always had the money to do it. And because of how you level up characters as well when you buy the skill points in this game, which I don't think is a bad thing that you buy the skill points, but I don't think they were spread out enough to where I was like, I feel 60% of the way through this game, and my characters were OP as hell. Like, I was buying the skill points, I was finding them out in the world, and my characters were doing major damage. It kind of broke the game, especially Blake. Like, when she uses her shadow clones, that's one of the biggest issues of the game, is the fact that you can get two of them at once, plus hers, and that's 3. That's 2 shadow clones and her attacking. That's 30 attack. I think it was about 10 apiece was her attack. So that's 30 attack points. I ripped through any mechanical enemy that was a giant in this game, or any enemies in general. Even the final boss, it was just, I don't know, man. I just felt that was a bit lackluster to, you know, not have those extra attacks, and that some characters just got way too overpowered so early on, I felt. I really felt that, and it was kind of a bummer. Also, the final boss of this game, there's not much to him. I gotta say, I was a little bit disappointed. I was kind of expecting a game like this to have like multiple transformations, you know, this isn't my final form kind of meme, you know. I think that would have been really cool, but at the end, there just wasn't there. And that was something that really bothered me, because when I beat the game, I was like, that's it? Really? Like, that's all there is? I don't know how I feel about this. And then, I mean, it's not all bad because they do actually allude to some things in Volume 8, which is pretty cool. I really do like that aspect of it, and I was like, okay, that redeemed itself a little bit. But I mean, if you've already seen Volume 8, you know exactly what happens with a lot of the characters and who does what and who kind of becomes a dick and shit like that. So, honestly, I really was bummed out that last boss battle was not hard at all, honestly. I was really... He had interesting attacks, but I feel he could have had just a bit more. Also, Team Juniper is completely absent from this game. Like, not even in the game at all. Oscar's not even in the game. I thought that maybe they'd be unlockables or something that they'd, show up once or twice or a couple times, maybe help you out, maybe give you an item or something. Kind of like when you explore in DuckTales and you would find, Mrs. Beakley, or you would find other characters that would give you things. That's what I was kind of hoping for, but they were kind of replaced by characters that you just needed to give items to, or they'd help you later on. And it was kind of a waste not to have those characters, because people do love Team Juniper a lot, and I think this was a big missed opportunity. And speaking of big missed opportunity, I have to say that the game not having co-op or a 4-player option when it was announced that there was going to be co-op kind of hurts the game a little bit. This game would have been so much fun to play with friends online, or have some couch co-op here at my house, invite my friends who like RWBY to come over and we all play the game on stream. Something like that I feel would have just been absolutely incredible. Might have been a little bit insane to have 4 girls on the screen at once, but I think maybe if it was just 2 and you both shoot the character that you want to control, like I would be like Blake and Yang, and my friend Sam, if she came over here, would have her be Ruby and Weiss or something like that, just whatever the case is, the combination. I feel that could have been something that really helped the game. I don't know what the co-op was supposed to be originally, but I got to admit, hearing that it got canceled was kind of a bummer, and I hope that in the future, if they do make another RWBY game, they really work hard at that co-op aspect, because co-op is what can really sell games for a lot of people. I mean, one person gets it, and yeah, you can play it at a friend's house, but then you could be like, wow, I really like this. I'm going to go home and buy this and play it with my boyfriend or my girlfriend or whoever. I think that's something that in the future they do need to really think about. So, it may seem like I just ripped this game a new one, but to be honest, at the end of the day, I friggin' love this game. Again, massive shout-outs and many thanks to the people over at Wayforward for getting me this review copy. It truly meant a lot to me that you guys went the distance for me, and this game, despite my issues that I had with it, I really feel that a lot of RWBY fans are going to like Arrowfell. I think this is going to be a game that they've wanted, because I know for a long time, ever since I really started getting heavy into RWBY, a lot of people wanted more RWBY video games, and this is exactly how you're going to get it, is by supporting a game like this. It really is awesome. Now, I don't know if there's going to be a physical version of this game, because it's a $30 asking price, and I feel that with a game like this, it's probably going to get a limited run release, and, well, you guys know me. As much as I just got this awesome review copy, I'm still going to go buy the game. Like, I want to support them. I want to support the company because, and also, I am a massive fan of physical media. If it wasn't already clear by all the videos that I do here. I love preserving them. I like physical media. It's what I grew up with. Digital is great for a lot of things, but it's all about that physical media. But again, 6 to 7 hour run, $30 asking price. I really can't get mad at the things that I was bummed out about when I said it here in the video, because at the end of the day, it still delivers a great game. Yeah, co-op would have been great for it and everything, but the single-player aspect of it is still a lot of fun, and I think fans will enjoy all the love and dedication that was put into it. I also got to say, there is one kind of nitpick that I didn't like. I really wish that the voice actresses for Team RWBY and a lot of the other characters got to actually speak more, and not just in big cutscenes or a couple little voice snippets when their thing would come up where they'd be like, huh? Wow. Ooh. Or like when, some of the characters would say like a one word. It just, again, I feel like they could have done a little bit more with the voicing. Small nitpick, but again, the game is amazing, and you all know me as well. They may have sent me this review, but I'm not being told what I can and can't say. I don't like that with reviews. I don't think you should be limited to what you can say about games. Maybe before they come out and stuff like that, maybe some people might hear about a game-breaking glitch that you came across, and maybe people will start canceling a game. But at the end of the day, I'm all for being very truthful, and I don't want people telling me what I can and can't say. And Wayforward, they told me, have fun with it, play it, and talk about it, and that's exactly what I did here today. So hopefully you guys really enjoyed this, because I sure as hell did. Well, you've heard my 2 cents. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. gonna pick this up, fan of the Metroidvania style of games, or you're just a massive RWBY fan. Let me know down in the comments below if you'd like to see me cover anything else RWBY related, and let me know if you're gonna pick this game up. Again, I think it's a great game, and I really want to see more love given to Wayforward because they're an absolutely amazing company. So with that being said, please thumbs up and subscribe because it's free, and this day and age, free is a damn good thing. As always, everybody, thank you for watching. I'm One Big Boss, and I will see you all next time. Hey guys, thanks again for watching this video. If you could give it a like and a share, it'd help my channel out big time. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram where I'm most active, links down below in the description. Also make sure to click the join button to help support what I do on YouTube. Our community here is growing every day, so join if you'd like to and help support us. Also click the bell to get notified for new videos when they go up and get notified when I also go live, which I solely do here on YouTube. Many thanks again guys, greatly appreciate it.